Good morning. Happy Tuesday. So, the NLP thing that we're going to talk about today is called a CPH, Change Personal History. So, here's how it works. You've got an event in your life that you'd like to change your relationship to. So, usually this would be something traumatic, and usually it's a specific event. Now, you can turn a series of events into one event. You can compress them because it could be a period of time that you spent with a person. You could do that. But normally this would be an event. This would be a trauma of some type or a breakup or some specific event. Now, number one, we always start out with get leverage, okay? Why do you want to change this? And the way we get leverage is we think about what it's cost us in the past, what it's costing right now, and what it will cost us in the future. And you got to feel it. You got to feel it in your gut. When you feel it in your gut, then you're going to start to get leverage. Then we always do that erasure technique where we run it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And remember, if when you go back to do the erasure technique, it's too much for you, it's overwhelming, it's too traumatic, then put yourself in a balcony of a movie theater, looking down in the theater, watching yourself in the theater, watching it on the movie. That'll be enough of a displacement that you don't have that response, and then you can control your response in yourself that you're watching. And then on the screen, you run it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but you're not looking at the screen, you're looking at yourself down in the theater. Okay? Make sense? So, the change personal history, what you do is you after you do the erasure technique, after you do all that stuff, you ask yourself, okay, what do I wish that I would have had when I went through that process? What characteristics, what qualities do I wish that I would have possessed when I went through that process? And then you should pick three, always should be three. Then anchor those three big time and anchor them and anchor them and anchor them and anchor them. And, you know, maybe have your main anchor, the fist, and then do a separate anchor. And, maybe it's more courage, or maybe it's more independence, or maybe it's more certainty, or maybe it's more love, or whatever it is that you, and again, use your gut. Ask yourself the question, what do you wish you would have had when you went through that process? And whatever you say, then that's the right answer, okay? Anchor those three emotions. Now take yourself back to before this incident, which you should already feel significantly different because you've done the erasure technique, but go back to before this incident and fire the anchor of those qualities that you wish that you would have possessed through that thing, and then see yourself going through that process with those qualities and really feel it. And what's going to happen is you're going to see the event happen differently when you do this. Because you have these qualities now, your responses are going to be different. Your intuition is going to be different. Your reactions are going to be different as you go through that event. And then you're going to be different when you get to the other side. And if you want to do it more than once, go ahead. If your instinct says, I want to do this more than once, what will happen is you will have actually changed history by changing what happened in that event. Because you got leverage, because you do the erasure technique, you create a space. You create an opening that you can then fill. And what you're filling it with is, you still want to learn the lessons that you learned from that experience. There's always a positive lesson from the experience. So we don't want to just eliminate the experience. What you want to do is have the experience be different. So if you give yourself all of these skills, now when you go through that experience, you're going to respond to it differently. And then you're going to feel completely differently about it on the other side. This is what all therapies do. They can just take forever to do it. When you do non-directive therapy, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? All you're doing is really changing your relationship to events. If after a while they get you to see the positive that came out of this event, then you'll feel differently about the event. If they get you to see some sort of other reason as to why it happened, other than blaming yourself, or other than, maybe even see that this is why this person responded in this way, then you're going to feel differently about that event. Well, this is a way to do it and do it immediately. Because when you go through with these different characteristics that you wish you had, you're going to go through it differently, which is going to create a different event, create a different outcome. And now when you look back at that event, you will have changed your personal history. So, repeating our steps, always get leverage. What's it cost you in the past? What's it costing you now? What's it going to cost you in the future if you don't change your relationship to this event? And really feel it. You got to feel it. You got to get leverage, or it's not going to work as well. Then do your erasure technique, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you can do this multiple times. It's okay. If after the first time you're not there, then do it again. Again, you haven't done this very much, so it's like riding a bike. When you first start, it's a little new, it's a little different, but you're going to get better. Then anchor those feelings, anchor those characteristics that you wish you had, or wish you would have possessed, or wished you would have been available to you, however you want to language that, and see yourself going through it. You'll feel completely differently about that event. And as such, your response to it is going to be completely different. We want to learn the lessons of those events, but we don't want to be prisoner to them. And this allows you to do that. This allows you to feel completely differently about it, so you're going to respond differently, so life is different. So I hope that helps. I hope you guys use it. Try this on something. Try it on something easy at first. Try it on something that bothers you but isn't the end of the world, and see how it goes, and see if it makes a difference for you down the road. And I think what you're going to find is you feel a difference immediately, but in particular, a little bit later, you're going to feel even more of a difference as time passes. But don't be afraid to do it more than once. That's okay. The more you do this, the more that relationship to that event is going to change. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other. Have a great Tuesday.